mother. Yeah. This is the masculine mandate. This is the masculine mandate. You are male by birth, but man by choice. Okay? It's taken from Romans chapter 12, verse 2, modified a little. And it goes like this. Do not be conformed to this culture and its lure of promise, but be transformed by the masculine mandate to prove spiritually, provide morally, and protect physically, so that you may prove that which is the perfect will of God in biblical manhood. A man is to prove spiritually. Okay? He's responsible for the spiritual arena in his home. Okay? It's a man. All right? It's not his church. It's not his pastor. All right? It's not the officers of the church. It's the man. The man is the one that's responsible for the spiritual growth in his home. Okay? He puts the family together for devotion, for prayer, okay? For healing prayer. And at the dinner table, when it's time before you eat, the man is the one that leads the family in prayer and gives thanks to God. All right? He's a model of dependency on God. Right? The family looks at him and says, wow, you know, they're in awe. They look and say, but not because of him, but who he believes in. Okay? And you know what? Even in the home, where your wife may be more equipped and has greater knowledge and experience of things of God, it's still the man that has that responsibility. Don't put a burden on your wife she's not supposed to bear. It's you. Okay? He is to have his own mission for God through church, work, and mission and ministry networks. Okay? A man is to provide moral excellence. His word, you know, what he says is what he does. His character is measured by his word. He is bound by that. Okay? And you know what we'd say? What we think? How a man treats his wife and his kids at home is a measure of how he would probably run the world if it was his to run. Just think about that. A man models servant headship, both at home and at work. He submits to authority. He coaches his boys to care for women. All right? Listen, women are not here for you to beat up on, for you to take advantage of. You hear some of these rap music, you know, these CDs, and they talk about their mama and what they do, and they de-edify women. And I'm telling you, Christian men, that's not what we're about. That's not what you're supposed to do. Okay? He defines laziness. He teaches the value of work, a work ethic. Okay? You're not lazy. We are not lazy. You know, and a man has to teach his children holiness through the value of virginity. And if it's lost, he teaches that God may not restore virginity, but he willingly restores purity. Yes! He sets a biblical, manly standard for his girls. Okay? I don't know about you. I have 2 daughters, and I tell you right now, you know, every man in this room should think about his girls. Whenever they look at any man or think about any man, they should be looking and saying, is that man like my dad? Okay? Does he have the character and the moral values that my dad has? Right? That's what you want your girls to say. You know, and if he doesn't measure up to dad, then I don't really want anything to do with him. Okay? A man is to provide materially. Right? His primary responsibility is to provide materially for the family. He makes sure that he doesn't take any commitments, okay, that's going to compromise and have his wife take a second job and even a first job just so that he can have some toys. All right, so you men that have your wives going out and, just so you can play golf or have season tickets to the Yankees, season tickets to the Mets, to drive your little car that you think is so wonderful and you have to have. Listen, if your wife has to go out and work so you can have that, shame on you. I'm telling you right now. Shame on you. Okay, a biblical man is generous with the resources to God. Right? He's a tither. All right? He provides to his family and his friends. And I tell you right now, right, in the matter of finances, if you can't afford to lose money and someone asks you for money, I'm going to give you some advice. Don't loan it to them. You have to be prepared to give it to them. All right? Many friendships have been broken, a lot of wounds because you've loaned money and you have to have it back. And I'm just telling you right now, don't fall into that trap, right? Matter of fact, usually if you ask for money that you've loaned someone, they try to make you feel bad. They're the ones that ask you, and they try to make you feel bad. A man compromises his soul when he won't lay down his life to provide for his family. I want you to read when you have time, 1 Timothy 5, verse 8. A man is to protect physically and emotionally. He is a man of steel and velvet, strong, sacrifices weak. Manhood and Christ-likeness are synonymous. He stands guard as the watchman at his home. Let me give you a little analogy. If you're upstairs with your wife and you're sleeping, and number one, you should be sleeping closest to the door. All right? Yes. So if anything happens, okay, you would be the first one. Right? But if you're sleeping upstairs and you hear a noise downstairs, you don't nudge your wife and say to her, honey, I just heard something downstairs. Why don't you go check it out? Some of you are laughing, but check yourself. The man is engaged with his wife and his kids in associations. He's the one that will guard and be the nurturer and nourisher of his family and the relationships that are going on. And I'm going to tell you, if it's something that's just not right, then he's the one that steps in and says, hey, look, you know what? We don't need to be here. We don't need to do that. Okay? He is the one. Don't put that on your wife. Okay? There's no coarse talking allowed. A biblical man will not stand for that. All right? You ever go to a ball game and guys get carried away and they start drinking beer and everything and anything out of their mouth goes? But you know what? Not on my watch. Okay? If my wife is sitting with me and this guy is going crazy, you just stand up and say, excuse me, my wife is here and I don't tolerate that. And if you can't handle it, excuse yourself and leave. Okay? And that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do as men. A man stops sin in his house. Oh, boy. Yeah. You look at, and I'm coming to a close, you look at, all right, you go in your house, and if there's anything on there that shouldn't be on there, all right, some of these CDs, some of these movies, all that, it's your responsibility to say, hey, we don't do that here. This is my house, and again, a biblical man just doesn't do that. 1, 2, 3. Yes.